Your gut, it isn't just hungry, it's hungry for the right foods. You see, we can think that just because we put food into our mouths that we are feeding our gut. But the truth is, it is actually a word play to most of us. It was foreign to me not too long ago, too. Thankfully, it is easy to understand when we look at it simply. Say you eat a cheeseburger and fries. Maybe you have a soda with it too. Are you eating? Sure you are. This would constitute feeding yourself. But this isn't feeding your gut. Technically, but not in the best way. Within your body, you have organs and tissues, yes, a stomach that needs to be fed. But residing within each of us is a gut microbiome that isn't necessarily an organ per se. Rather, it is a host of microorganisms, trillions actually, consisting of bacteria in the gastrointestinal tract. These bacteria have been forgotten in a sense, in large part because of their lack of being an actual organ, but play just as big of a role, if not bigger. As more and more research is being done, it is being discovered that the health of the microbiome and its microorganisms, including their diversity, play a massive role in our everyday lives. Not too long ago, bacteria was known as a bad thing. Wash your hands, is what they said. Obviously, cleanliness is important, but too much of even a good thing is not good. Bacteria was thought to be all around us trying to make us sick. The green, gooey monsters emerging from behind our shoulders, prying for an opportunity to get inside our bodies. To be clear, there are differentiating bacteria. Let's call them good bacteria and bad bacteria. To be frank, let's call them beneficial bacteria and harmful bacteria. This is all well and fine. You probably don't disagree with my thesis. But so what? What does it matter and how does it relate to me? How does it relate to you? Friend, it has everything to do with you. I'm talking about your life and the longevity and quality of it. Hey there, and welcome to Nature's Health Compass, a place where I talk about natural remedies to everyday ailments. If this is your kind of thing, smash the like button and consider subscribing to the channel so you never miss when a video goes live. Let's get into it, and watch this video all the way to the end where I will share my favorite foods that I have almost daily and contribute to my gut health. I will share a little bit of my story and the benefits I am seeing from consuming these foods, as well as a huge resource when starting your journey with fermented foods. Any products that I mention and or think can be helpful to you, I have listed in the description of this video. To start things off, I want to make it clear that I am not a medical professional and nothing in this video is meant to be taken as medical advice. As always, do your own research, be informed, stay alert, and do what's best for you and your family. Your gut is a host of microorganisms. If you feed them right, they become good and crowd out the bad, even protect you from foreign invaders such as illness. But if you feed it the wrong foods, the bad kind of organisms will dominate the good, perhaps keeping you ill or at the very least less than feeling your best. The simple truth is this: the organisms you feed are the ones who will grow. A quick side note: when we crave junk food, it is the unpleasant bacteria in our guts craving those foods. When we crave good foods like fruits and vegetables, it is the good bacteria craving those like-minded foods. This concept is actually changing the way that many people see weight loss. Change the bacteria in your gut, and your diet will change because your gut is craving the foods that give them what they want. These truths are even changing the way we look at mood, depression, and self-control. Now we know, thanks to innovations in science, that many of those green, gooey monsters are actually the good guys, emerging from behind our shoulders not to make us ill, but to protect us. Within each and every one of us resides trillions of beneficial bacteria and make us a delicate man of war. These beneficial bacteria fight for dominance and fight to keep us well, keeping things like candida and harmful yeast at bay. But the modern diet, along with overconsumption of antibiotics, have wreaked havoc on this delicate ecosystem. Other factors playing an ongoing role as well are illness, stress, aging, poor diet, and consumption of alcohol. Some of these bacteria can be lost forever as we got them from our mothers at the time of birth. The quality and species of our gut microbiome can even play a factor when it comes to obesity, IBS, cancer, and autism. These beneficial bacteria are crucial for good health. Many of them dwell in the digestive system and are responsible for a wide variety of things, from the production of certain vitamins to even feelings of love and empathy, things not even thought of 10, 15 years ago. Some of these bacteria hold the key to a restful night's sleep and detailed dreams which occur during the rapid eye movement phase of sleep. The best foods for your gut can be broken into two kinds: probiotic foods and prebiotic foods. Probiotics enter the body and have the potential to overtake bad bacteria. Prebiotics feed the probiotics in your gut to grow and multiply them. As the probiotics continue to grow and multiply, they crowd the gut microbiome and potentially drive out illness. It is important to note, though, that not everyone experiences similar results from probiotic foods. If one doesn't cut out things such as junk food and other sources of sugar consumption, there will only be so much that a diet rich in probiotic foods can do for them. Bad bacteria will continue to dominate, although possibly pushed back. On to 10 of the best probiotic foods. Number 1, yogurt. Yogurt is the most popular probiotic food on the market. Most people incorporate it into their everyday diet. The kind loaded with sugars are not the best. I suggest Greek yogurt with live cultures. You can find the live cultures on the label on the back of the container. If you are intimidated with probiotic foods and think they seem too involved and require too much work, consider starting with yogurt if you haven't already. You can buy yogurt at your local grocery store, but I suggest looking at the label to make sure it isn't loaded with a ton of sugar and that it is, of course, with live cultures. It can also be homemade. If you are watching this and you are interested in making your own, comment below and I will make that video for you. Yogurt can be made with any type of milk, although the lower the fat content will yield a thinner product. Not all yogurts are created the same, and look at the back of the label to see what cultures they contain. Number 2, and this is my personal favorite, kefir. I've been making kefir for nearly 2 years now, and although it was a learning curve, it has definitely been worth it. A huge factor for me has been that I have no pain in my knees or in my ankles. As we get older, and depending on our diet, we can have inflammation, which causes pain in our joints. For me, I think I had some arthritis from a break in a bone that was affecting so many other areas in my body and would cause them to ache. The aching in my bones is now gone, and because I drink kefir the most and am most consistent with it out of all the foods I consume, I have to assume it has been the kefir. Studies on kefir versus yogurt nutritional content have shown amazing results that not many people are aware of. Kefir contains 3 times the probiotic content than that of yogurt. It has 12 live and active cultures in comparison to yogurt that has 1 to 5. Kefir has shown to have 15 to 20 billion colony-forming units, whereas yogurt has a mere 6 billion. Not many people know this because yogurt is a fairly household name, whereas kefir isn't so much. A simple look at the numbers shows that kefir is phenomenally more when it comes to the amount of colony-forming units and active strains of beneficial bacteria. Number 3, sauerkraut. This isn't the sauerkraut that is canned and has a shelf life. This is the fermented sauerkraut that is lacto-fermented with a fermentation lid and then kept in the refrigerator for long-term storage. Interesting fact about fermented cabbage, sauerkraut. It is high in vitamin C. 1 raw cup of cabbage provides 30 milligrams of vitamin C, but ferment that same cup of cabbage and it now yields 600 to 700 milligrams of vitamin C. These effects made lacto-fermented cabbage a marvel that revolutionized the life of sailors in the age of exploration. Because they were on ships for long lengths of times, years sometimes, fresh fruits and vegetables were sometimes hard to come by. A lack of fresh fruit and vegetables leads to a lack of vitamin C in the body, which leads to scurvy itself. The effects were swollen gums, loose teeth, bulging eyes, easy bruising, scaly skin, and dry hair. This made sauerkraut a godsend because it was a way of increasing vitamin C. James Cook put lacto-fermented cabbage to the test on his first voyage in 1768 when he brought along 7,860 pounds of it. This was the equivalent to 2 pounds per man per week. In 1771, 3 years later, Cook was all too thrilled to announce that there had been no serious cases of scurvy among his crew. Do your research before making fermented sauerkraut, but do not worry about food safety. If anything is ever bad, you will know it and would never mistake it for being safe. This is a disclaimer, though, to do your own research before making this food, to store it properly, and to know what signs to look for that it has gone bad. Number 4, kimchi. This food is popular in Korea and dates back 2,000 years. It contains cabbage and is known for its lactic acid bacteria. I think it resembles sauerkraut, and it is probably because it contains cabbage. Other vegetables that can be in kimchi and can make different varieties are radishes, celery, carrots, cucumbers, eggplant, spinach, scallions, beets, and bamboo shoots. This can be eaten fresh right after making, or the kimchi can be fermented for a few days up to a few weeks. It contains vitamin A, C, B6, K, folate, iron, niacin, and riboflavin. Its effects are still being studied and will be ongoing. There is so much information online. Do some research to find out all that kimchi has to offer. Number 5, miso. When I first heard that miso was made by fermenting soybeans, I was wary. I was thinking about soybeans in America that seem to have been altered to the point of what seems like no return. But soybeans actually have a history that most of us are probably unaware of. Soybeans have their roots in China, originating as early as the 11th century BC. They are considered one of the 5 ancient grains. They are, yes, a food, but also considered a medicine. They are extremely versatile and can be used in a wide variety of foods, mainly miso, tempeh, and tofu, all vegan sources of protein. 1 cup of raw soybeans contains a whopping 68 grams of protein. Before long, the Chinese had domesticated the soybean plant, and by the 1st century AD, it began showing itself in central and southern China and Korea. It made its way to Japan, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Burma, and India. By World War I, soybeans were known in America as a cheap source of oil and plant-based protein. Soybeans are not a new thing, as most of us probably thought. Miso is a fermented soybean paste. It is a foundational staple food in Japanese culture today and dates in China as far back as 600 AD. Soy sauce actually resembles the taste of it. Many of these foods most of us Americans have never heard of. The world is full of foods that each have unique properties. The process of fermentation introduces even greater qualities in these foods. Number 6, tempeh. Tempeh is a soybean food that did not originate in China or Japan. It actually originated in Indonesia. Tempeh is actually the world's highest form of B12. Also, it contains a staggering amount of plant-based protein, the equivalent of beef. Tempeh is more digestible than other soybean and bean products because the fermentation process allows nutrients to become more soluble. This results in less gas when consumed. Other notable things about tempeh is that it is low in saturated fat, has no cholesterol, and contains all 8 amino acids. More research is being done to discover all that this food has to offer. This is how you make tempeh. You wash the soybeans, then you boil them, you soak overnight, you hull the soybeans, then you cool for 45 minutes to an hour, drain and cool. You mix with a fungus known as Rhizopus elogosporus. This is grown in Japanese hibiscus and leek leaves. You can also purchase a starter for this. You ferment it for 24 to 48 hours. Then the soybeans cling together. And I actually think that the final product looks a little bit like honeycomb. Number 7, pickles fermented in brine. Fermented pickles have quite the history, dating as far back as 2400 BC. Archaeologists believe that they have their roots in Mesopotamia. Notable people all throughout history have eaten this wonder food. Cleopatra credited them to her legendary beauty. Julius Caesar and other Roman emperors gave them to their troops to keep them strong. During the 1400s, scurvy was a deadly disease that took the life of many sailors due to the lack of fruits and vegetables. Pickles revolutionized this and saved many lives. In the age of exploration, scurvy again took the lives of many men on their voyages across the ocean because of their lack of vitamin C of fresh fruits and vegetables. Christopher Columbus stocked his ships with these fermented pickles as a source of vitamin C, rationing them to his men, and even stopped in Haiti to replenish his ships of cucumbers he had grown there. Amerigo Vespucci, before he was known as an explorer, worked in shipping operations in Seville, Spain, and even helped Christopher Columbus restock his ships. He stocked ships with meat and vegetables, but was known as the pickle dealer. In 1809, Napoleon Bonaparte offered to pay 12,000 francs, the equivalent of $125,000, to the person who could best preserve food, pickling one out. What we know now as the most modern way of canning was won by French chef Nicolas Appert when he discovered that if he placed food in a jar and removed all the air, he could then boil them and seal the jars with a cork and wax. But our forefathers were onto something when they said that pickles contributed to their overall health and beauty. Modern science has proven that fermented pickles support the central nervous system, benefit the skin, aid in weight loss, treat candida symptoms, reduce anxiety and depression, even help to reduce the risk of Parkinson's and some cancers. Number 8, traditional buttermilk. This does not include the buttermilk that you find at the store. Many of them have been cultured, yes, yet contain no live cultures. Neither am I talking about the byproduct of homemade butter or soured milk that many recipes call for and can be achieved by adding vinegar to milk. I am talking about cultured buttermilk. Fermentation of milk is one of the earliest methods of preserving milk and extending its shelf life. Things like yogurt, kefir, and buttermilk made this possible for people long ago. Interesting fact, this traditional buttermilk does not need to be kept cool. It actually prefers a temperature of around 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It can also be used to make sour cream and cottage cheese. Here are some of its benefits. It can help lower cholesterol, obviously improve gut health. It has anti-cancer properties. It has antibacterial and antiviral properties. It contains antioxidants. It detoxifies the body. It can help the kidneys, and it is also skin and hair friendly. Number 9, natto. Natto originated thousands of years ago in North Japan. It is a staple for the Japanese to eat on a daily basis, usually for breakfast. It is made by fermenting soybeans, then inoculating them with Bacillus subtilis. It is a very strong tasting food when it is completed, and many people eat it over rice. What is interesting about natto, unlike many other fermented foods, is that it is resistant to heat. It can tolerate heat up to 122 degrees and remain active. This means that you can add it to any dish for added health benefits. Speaking of health benefits, there are countless, ranging from lowering anti-inflammatory responses and blood pressure to anti-diabetic and antioxidant effects on the body. Do your own research into this overwhelmingly amazing food, but undeniable superfood. Number 10, fermented cheeses. Good examples of cultured cheeses are feta, Swiss, Gouda, cottage cheese, Parmesan cheese, provolone, raw unpasteurized cheddar. It is important to note that not all cheeses are created equal, and not all of them contain active cultures. Look at the label on the back for this information. When we think cheese, we don't typically think probiotics. It is such a household name, much like yogurt. But consider adding some of these probiotic-rich cheeses into your diet. Consider swapping recipes with traditional cheese for one of these probiotic-rich ones. As previously mentioned, the body has 1 trillion naturally residing bacteria in the body. When they are thrown out of whack, they can cause a myriad of illnesses, some being that of allergies, mood disorders, and even arthritis. When we feed the good bacteria, they grow and contribute to our overall health and wellness. There are even starters on the market that can help you make them homemade. One thing to caution when it comes to cheeses, though, is that they are high in calories, fat, and salt. All these probiotic foods are well and great and will help your gut immensely, But what are the best prebiotic foods? I'm just going to list them here for you. The more you incorporate these foods into your diet, the more you will be feeding that beneficial bacteria in your gut. And when you feed them, it causes them to multiply and to grow, which provides even more health benefits. Here are the foods: chicory root, garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, green unripe bananas, Jerusalem artichokes, dandelion greens, apples, barley, berries. Berries are not a prebiotic food, but they contain high levels of polyphenols, which interact with beneficial bacteria in the gut and cause them to multiply. Now, there are some products on the market in powder form that you can add to shakes and things like that that are a prebiotic powder, and I will list some of them in the description of this video. You've made it to the end of this video, and as promised, I'm going to tell you my daily intake of probiotic foods. I start my day with a kefir shake. To the kefir, I add Rooterai yogurt, a prebiotic and HMO powder, also spinach or kale, and lately I've been adding berries, which are high in antioxidants and are so good for you. Throughout the day, my kids and I are also having kefir soda. We call it kefir pop in this house, as well as kombucha. I will link those starters as well as the Rooterai yogurt in the description below this video. A huge resource that I have been utilizing on a regular basis is the podcast by Donna Schwenk at Cultured Food Life. She is so down to earth and knowledgeable about these things. Also, I recently purchased the book Super Gut by Dr. William Davis and highly recommend it. That's all for now, and if you've gotten value from this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, may you find nature's health compass so you can become an even better you.